A very warm good morning to everyone. I am Suprabha. Universal Engineering College invites you to the international webinar series on entrepreneurship realization to reality during and post COVID 19. I would like to thank each one of you for joining us for today's webinar. Today, we are presenting the topic Manufacturing a Real Life Experience. The topic will be presented by our respected Mr. Abdul Jabbar sir. He is a managing director of Hotpack Global Group, which has 12 factories, 25 branches, and 20 retail centers across GCC countries, UK, USA, Morocco, and Australia, and employs more than 2,000 staff of 27 different nationalities. Abdul Jabbar did his education from MES Asmabi College, P. Wembalur. He started his career in 1991 as an accountant at a foodstuff company in Dubai. After 4 years, he started his own small trading entity with 3 staff. The firm was engaged in the distribution of disposable food packaging materials and achieved a rapid growth in 10 years to the staff strength of 300. Within this period, he also reached deeply about the manufacturing technology of polymer processing and paper production. When the UAE government was encouraging local industries to grow, a plan was made to start manufacturing on their own under the name Hot Pack Packaging Industries in 2006. The 11 years of experience in this field and distribution network developed within this period helped the company to achieve success in the new venture too. All this while, despite his busy schedule as an entrepreneur, Abdul Jabbar continued his academic studies and completed his MBA from Lincoln University College in Malaysia through their distance education program. For your kind attention, if you have any questions during the presentation of our topic, feel free to type them into the question box in your Zoom, or you have the option of raise hand in control panel for asking your doubts. And please remember that we will also have the time for question at the end. Now, without further delay, we will turn the time to our Dr. Jose K. Jacob, our respected principal, Universal Engineering College, Valivatam. Sir, please.
Good morning, all. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Have a nice day. So today we have an eminent speaker, eminent personality. He is from industry. From the introduction itself, you know, his career growth. He is running #1 packing industry in Dubai, as well as in many countries also. So on behalf of Universal Engineering College, I welcome all of you and handing over mic to Abdul Jabbar sir. Sir, proceed please.
Good morning, everybody. It's my honor, it's my privilege to be here as a speaker in front of all of you. I can see many attendees are adding, and last 3 days, the session was going on with great attention. And here, different to what you have heard for last 3 days, I'm going to share my experience as an entrepreneur and my experience in manufacturing. That is what going to be shared here. I think this is one of the rarest topics normally taken by any speakers, because you will see technology, you will see entrepreneurship, and you will see many other things as a topic. But here, the real experience, that is what I've chosen. Mr. Shamsuddin also suggested me, I said, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a professional speaker. So Mr. Shamsuddin suggested me, you just share your experience. That will be going to, that will be helping the upcoming engineers to build their career. So I'd like to share some slides. if I talk about myself, as described in brief introduction, I reached here in Dubai in 1990. 1991 actually, 1990 December. So we mentioned as 1991. So this time it was a very difficult time for Gulf region. Gulf War started. The utmost tension between Iraq and other Gulf countries was happening at that point of time. And there was, Iraq invaded Kuwait in August 1990, and the tension was going on. Businesses were facing difficulties. I remember it was in February, the war started between America in one side and other side Iraq. So Dubai was Dubai is very close to Iraq region. And this area was also under threat. So at that point where I reached here in Dubai, I started my career as an accountant in a trading company for 4.5 years of experience. Not only as an accountant, it was a small firm having 20 employees. So I used to work as a purchaser. I used to work as a sales guy. I used to work as a manager. I was managing the team, so HR area. So different fields of experience, different fields of a business. I got opportunity to work in different segments. Although I was an accountant, but I handled many areas which helped me when I started my own business. Which helped me. I could design my business. I could manage our fleet. We could negotiate with landlords. There are a lot of things. So 1995, we started the business as a trading entity. We expanded in 10 years of time, 11 years of time. We are from 3 to 300. The workforce reached 3 to 300. And at that point of time, businesses were doing good, and we were facing acute shortage of products, where we started one of our manufacturing plant with a very semi-automatic aluminum foil rewinding unit. And along with that, we started napkins, facial tissues, paper tissue converting, drinking straws. This was our initial step. And then we expanded this manufacturing into each and every products. Now we are producing around 1,200 different products from our different factories. And that is with utmost technology available globally, and we are exporting to 85 different countries. Let me can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm talking about basics of manufacturing. Manufacturing is to plan and deploy an optimum way of transformation of materials into goods by proper integration of people, capital, processes, systems, and enterprises. And that is to deliver products of value to the society. So that is in a simple definition of manufacturing. And what is the purpose of manufacturing? The purpose of manufacturing is increase in quality, decrease in human error, the cost reduction, reduction in overall production time, and higher standard of safety and quality control, of course, with homegrown customer service. I'll go one by one. When we do a manual production, like if you are doing a furniture, in olden days, a carpenter used to cut by manual, by that uli and whatever, and the finishing was not good. And he has to spend a lot of time to fine tune that particular furniture, and lot of time, lot of wastage of materials. And after all doing, there was no good quality. Finally, the time involved, the material involved, all converting into cost. And during a week of time or 10 days of time, he can complete one single furniture. I'm just giving an example, example of manufacturing. But now there are automatic cutting machines, finishing machines, fine-tuning machines came. And when we are using such technology in manufacturing, the finishing is very fine. The time involved is very less. The cost involved, overall cost involved, because of less manpower, less hours of time, and less wastage involved. The cost reduction is a lot. And instead of one unit of furniture in 1 week time, we can finish hundreds of furnitures in a week time, which again reduces the cost and meets demand of a bulk customer. And naturally, the safety is high, quality control is high. And finally, if machine maintaining people, if you have around, if there is any maintenance in furniture, there are less maintenance. But in other activities, there are a few maintenance activities involved. So if you have people around, you have homegrown customer service. A simple manufacturing process, how it is happening, there will be a design and engineering, material procurement, packaging procurement, production, quality control, finally packed into shipping, then finally going to the customer from different entities. So during this process, I'll give you my experience, my own experience. What is my first-hand experience building a manufacturing plant? Here you can see our corporate head office along with central logistics facility and our first and foremost manufacturing plant. It's a 330,000 square feet built up area. When we talk in lakhs, 330 lakhs square feet area. Converting into acres, it is 7 acres of huge facility, competing with quality standards of any European, American factories. What we do here, we do paper cup manufacturing, paper bag, folding box, mono cartons, corrugated cartons, as I mentioned, straw in plastic, now recently with paper straw as well. Specialty printings of different kind, like offset, flexographic, dry offset, flexographic, rotogravure, and now recently digital. So continuous improvement in every machine, every technology is happening in every areas of business. Aluminum mechanical press for converting into aluminum containers, aluminum foil converting, different various type of tissue converting. As a backward integration, core manufacturing, because a toilet roll required a paper core into that. So if we buy paper core, it will be costing us money. So to reduce cost, we did the backward integration by producing paper core by ourselves. Then we do flexible lamination, pouching, and shopping bags. In plastic, when it comes to plastic, other plastic, thermoforming is a technology. We have German technology for thermoforming production. And before thermoforming, there is an sheet extrusion process. And after that, there is an injection molding process, blow molding process, film blown extrusion, adhesive label manufacturing. And to support all these entities, we have a graphic center to prepare, again, it is a backward integration. Flexo plates, offset plates, and the future plan is for roto cylinder by ourselves. And to compile all these things into one, we have an ESCO software. If you Google it, you can understand what is ESCO. ESCO is a software integrating all these processes, like getting a design from the customer, fine-tuning the design by our graphic designers, submitting the customer for the approval or their suggestions, version 1, version 2, version 3, whatever it is. Then coming back to graphic designer, he is doing his changes as per the customer demand. And then it is going to the plate making process. The plate making, after plate making process, of course, before the plate making process, there is a color separation. So when you get a package in your hand, it is nicely printed. You can see the output, but there are a lot of efforts involved in that. To have such attractive packaging, there are a lot of people working behind it to prepare nice graphics, good color separation, good quality of plate, done in a good quality of printing machine, on a good quality surface of raw material. Finally, you get a nice printing, which gives you which gives the product an image, so that it comes to buy the products by the customer. So here I'll explain later about all these processes, how it is helping us, how we integrate technology into that. Paper cup is being produced from paper reel. The initial raw material is paper reel, which is being imported from Europe. And first step is to print the paper material to have an attractive look on paper cups. And then it is going to a die cutting process to make a shape of a cup. And then it is going to a cup processing machine. So each production process has got different supervisors to handle that. And there is a production manager to control entire process. And after that, there is a QC team to verify the quality, the printing quality, the paper quality, porosity, leak tester, and hygiene standards, the printing quality, the ink pattern, and then finally the cup formation. Everything is in line with the standards. So this QC, once it is passes, it is going to the packaging, and then finally it is going to the customer. Similarly, all these processes are going through different areas of systems, and that is how they monitor each and every areas of production, and it is finally going to the customer. When technology incorporates in manufacturing, we were talking about an example of furniture, a carpenter and a furniture. So when it is in our process, earlier I mentioned you when we started manufacturing, it was a aluminum foil semi-automatic rewinder, which we need to load the jumbo roll. It is converting, it is rewinding into required meter of the foil, and manually it has to take out from the machine and pack manually, then close it properly, put it into a corrugated carton for final dispatch. But now the scenario has been changed. The raw material, we have to put it in an area. The raw material will be automatically taken from the area. It will be loaded automatically. It will be converted to required sizes, required linear meters. Finally, it will come out from the machine automatically. In between, there is a core, paper core also involved in aluminum foil also. It will be also taken automatically, fixed to the checks automatically. Then it is going to a conveyor, which is leading to the packaging machine. And the packaging machine finally packs the product automatically. That is the primary packaging machine. It is coming out, the primary packaging is coming out, and then it is going to the secondary packaging machine, which is the master carton. Required number of master carton is inputting, and then finally you have a final carton for the dispatch. So 11 years before, we had a semi-automatic machine. Now we have a full automatic machine. And apart from that, we can control this machine. We can monitor the machine. We can evaluate. We have capacity mentioned, what capacity it is running, and what are the percentage of achievement, efficiency. We can evaluate, and we can evaluate by crew, we can evaluate by operator, and such things are happening. This is happening in each and every machine. The technology, how we incorporated technology, that whether it is a thermoforming machine or an injection machine, if it is an injection machine, it has got a cycle. You might be learning about injection molding process. So each and every product, whether it is a medical syringe, or it is a disposable packaging material, or it is a spare parts for a car manufacturing, the process is injection molding. If it is a rigid plastic material is involved, injection molding is an area where medical application is there, automobile sector is there, food packaging sector is there, and various other areas injection molding machine is being used. Now engineers has got a lot of opportunities to work in these kind of different sectors. I'll come back to this area in a later slide. What we are doing, we are incorporating Industry 4 digital factory Industry 4 standards in all our machines, including artificial intelligence. And we use advanced robotics and automation. Recently, yesterday or day before yesterday, the speaker was talking about COVID scenario and empowering the employees, the restaurant employees, to use technology to do the marketing. The people, the workers who were delivering, who are the waiters of the product, and they have no job. Rather than terminating them, teach them and empower them the technology and use them for marketing. Similarly, we did the same thing. We received a few machines, 10 number of injection molding machines in February end. And unfortunately, the traveling was banned and they were locked down in many countries. So to install the machines, to install the robots, the people were not available. So what we did, with the help of the supplier, with the help of the machine supplier and the robot supplier, we installed. They have provided all the mechanical installation manuals by email, and they have given us the video how to install it. Earlier they used to do this because it is the part of machine deal. When they send the machine, they will send the engineer, they will install it, they will commission it. Finally, when the production is through, they will hand over the project. This is how earlier it was happening. But this time, because there were a huge demand due to Corona situation, we had to start the machine as fast as possible. And we requested them. They said, okay, we'll send you the manuals how to install it, and we will help you online. We were in Zoom. We were using Zoom communication. We were using mobile camera to show them, okay, this is how we have done. Our engineers, and we trained our team who has done ITI, who has done their diploma. There are few engineers as well, BTech engineers as well. So as a team, they did for the first time without any training, with the help of online support. The injection molding machine engineer was sitting in Japan, and the robotic supplier was sitting in Italy. We were all there in conference. They were guiding our team and they were installing it, and finally, we could successfully run it, and finally the product has been there. So sometimes situations are giving us opportunities. This is one of the best example. So actually I was diverting when we talk about robotics and automation. We installed it, we empowered our team to install the machine and to finally take out the products without difficulties. And continued IoT investments and innovations and collaborations with world-class technology providers. Finally, sustainable production, sustainable products, sustainable processes. This is what we expect the future of manufacturing. And we have incorporated many of these aspects in our manufacturing, and that is why we are successful. That is why we have grown from 3-member trading entity to 2,000+ member manufacturing entity serving globally. There was a study done in UK recently, statistics of digital and smart factories. Now, degree of digitalization is 90% in digital factory, where digital factories are not planned. And 41% of the factories are using the digital things, the digital technologies for standalone solutions. It is not integrated. 44% they are using wide use of digital technology, where factories partially integrated and connected. And the 6% has completed entire integration. Their factories completely digitalized with full-fledged integration. And we claim that, or we know that we fall into this 44%. Yes, we have wide use of digital technology. The factory is partially integrated and connected, but there is a room for improvement, and we are in the right path. We will be in this 6%. Then I'm sure that 6% will increase to 8, 10, 12 in coming days. So our aim is to have industry for full standards and factories completely digitalized and integrated. If we talk about current technology initiative implemented at HOTPAC, all production machines are connected over VPN for maximal security into HOTPAC data network and directly connected to the machine supplier. This is for troubleshooting purposes, evaluation of efficiency. We work as a team: machine supplier, mold supplier, robot supplier. If these three are different suppliers, we as a customer, for three of them, we are a customer. So it is their responsibility, and it is they have to make sure that we are running, of course, as a team, we are running our machines in desired and required efficiency. So we all four form a group of this team, and evaluate through this network of systems, evaluate that our machines are running with right efficiency. Because when we are running at right efficiency, then only we become competitive to other players in the market, or we can sell more products, or there will be more demands from the customers, and accordingly we will be procuring more machines. Naturally, three of our suppliers, machine supplier, mold supplier, or robot supplier, or any other software supplier, they all will get much more business or continuous business if we are excelling in our business. So that's how we incorporate technology in one form. This will help us, as I mentioned, machine level monitoring, employee level monitoring, and safety detection. Of course, raw material and FG movement tracking, how it is happening with the support of softwares. Each raw material received have a batch, and that makes us BRC standards or ISO 22000 standards for the traceability. Traceability may be a new word for many of you. Is there any opportunities so that I can see the comments from attendees? If they have a question in between, if they ask, I can answer. Rather than, I would like to become a kind of question answer session will be much more. Now we have done half an hour already. I'll go with this presentation for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then remaining 15 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes, I will do the question answer session. So for that, you may please prepare during this presentation, whatever questions you have, whatever doubts you have about what I have explained. If you have some doubt, please write it, please type it, so that I can answer you by the end of the session. So with the support of software, raw material tracking, traceability, if we have a quality problem in a batch, we can see if there are 3 or 4 processes involved in the manufacturing. If we have a proper tracking till the raw material, then we can track which batch of raw material had this problem, and we can communicate with our raw material suppliers. Your so-and-so batch had a problem, and that will help the raw material supplier also to communicate his other customers that we are sorry that there is a problem with this batch of products we have faced in one of our manufacturing plant or one of our customers' manufacturing plant. So we would like to ask you, we would like to check you that you are okay. Do you have faced any kind of problem or something? And accordingly call back those raw materials or do the rectification methods. So we have this system in place, and BRC, British Resellers Consortium, we are a BRC AA certified. AA is the topmost certification. and we are a AA certified factory, and that is what in packaging, that is what considered as the topmost certification. And we have to track all these raw material, FG movement, traceability and all that we are doing with the support of raw material. We are using barcodes, QR codes for the track of each and every reels and each and every batch in semi production as well as in the finished products area, semi-finished products and finished products area. And it can, we can monitor the process through online. Even if I'm in India or in UK or in US, I want to see something, just log into my system and see which machine is running with what efficiency, which crew is efficiently running, which plant out of our 12 plants, which plant is running with the maximum efficiency. And accordingly, our sales team can accept orders or do the marketing activities. Our marketing team can do the marketing activities according to the availability of the products. For example, if one of our factories, one of the products is down due to some technical issue, we can stop marketing if we come to know, in real time that this particular machine has a problem and that need a few days to rectify that problem. So better not to take some orders for these products for a certain period. So stop that marketing, or sales team can communicate with their customers efficiently. Unfortunately, we are short of these products, and we will be back within few days of time. So this kind of communication, this kind of real-time communication will happen to different departments of the business if we implement these kind of technologies. And it can be monitored by the process owners inside and outside through mobile devices. The same thing. Marketing team can see, sales team can see, and supervisor can see out of his operators, out of his responsibility, how many machines are running perfectly, which machine or which crew needed supervisor's attention. Similarly, the production manager can understand under which supervisor, which operator, which machine is efficiently running and which is not running efficiently. So such efficiency tracking, finding, understanding problem immediately, and then doing the rectification method instantly. Even it can be connected to the supplier, machine supplier also. Like if it is a critical problem, customer, we can program in such a way that a supplier get a message instantly as an email or alert or in their screen saying that Hotpaks XYZ machine has encountered so-and-so problem. So it needs supplier's attention. So up to certain level, it can be managed by our own maintenance team. But beyond a point, then that needs better attention from the higher technical side, which is our supplier. So this way, the efficiency of manufacturing, efficiency of machine can be optimized, and that is what the technology is helping manufacturers to become competitive and efficient. Our warehouses are having centralized Wi-Fi solution, not to have our employees to have WhatsApp communication or YouTube instantly or TikTok, but rather every movement of the products from a certain location to a certain location or to a truck is monitored on live, and then that is updated in the system as a live scenario, in real time scenario. So entire factory, the huge factory of 7 acres of area and other factories as well, have Wi-Fi system, and this has been connected to our central server, and every operator has got PDA devices. Like now it is replaced by a simple Android mobile phone. With heavy duty mobile phone, we can install an app, and a normal picker who doesn't have product knowledge, who doesn't have, who even he cannot read or write also, he can use this app, and he know that this is in so and so location, 1, 2, 3, XYZ. This is what he need to learn or he need to understand. I mean, alphabets and numbers, that's it. So he can go to a certain location. If he has a pick list, for example, he has a delivery, he has a pick list. Pick list will show, it will optimize to an area, and it will go to that particular picker digitally without a paper. Again, we are saving the environment, and he will get his instruction. Okay, this so-and-so product has to be taken out and from so-and-so location. So that is what the advantage of WMS. WMS means warehouse management system. It is again integrated with our production server. So each product in and out, whether it is the raw material going from raw material storage to the production area, it is being recorded in real time with the system. So the system will understand that there were hundreds of rolls of so-and-so product. So out of that, 10 rolls have been shifted to factory. So we have got 90 reels. So immediately, if we set, okay, it is 100 roll, that is the minimum quantity we have to maintain in the store for so-and-so raw material, the procurement department get an alert saying that so-and-so item has been came down from the minimum reorder level. So the procurement department can plan and communicate with their suppliers to procure that particular material in order to make sure that continuous availability of raw material. So product is moved to warehouse, or product is moved to factory area, shop floor, or it is moved to a customer. All the process owners will get information about this, and there are certain criteria set, limits set. If it is going below the limit, it will inform the respective process owners, which will make the system efficient. So every system has to work efficiently, not only the manufacturing system, but also warehousing system, sales system, accounting system, then raw material procurement system, QA/QC system. All this has to work efficiently with the support of a single ERP, so that a factory will become competitive globally. How China is excelling, how Europeans are competitive against China. China, the labor cost is cheaper. There are a lot of resources of raw materials which is cheaper, but still certain European factories are competing with China. How? China is now they are becoming in big way, but in technology, Europeans will run a factory of our size, 7 acre or 3 lakh square feet area of factory. They will run with 4 or 5 employees, and rest all with automation, fully automated factory with 6 or 7 employees per shift. They will run 3 shifts. So it means the entire factory is running by 21 shop floor employees. That may be engineers, technicians, and supervisors. That's it. So they are producing, with the help of automation, they are producing bulk quantity, whereas to produce such similar quantity in a Chinese factory where no automation is involved, no technology is involved, they need 500 people to produce similar quantity. So their man-hour cost per product is higher, much higher, compared to this technologically advanced European factory, which we are following. So that's how cheaper labor cost, having cheaper warehousing cost, having cheaper transport cost, having a lot of subsidies from the government, still, European or American or UAE factories are able to compete with Chinese or other third world country manufacturers. So sitting in Dubai, yes, our manpower cost is high, other living costs are high. So naturally, we have to pay higher salaries compared to China or India. So how we are competing, how we will be able to compete? By improving the efficiency, by incorporating technology. So let me go back to the points, what I was mentioning: 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, barcode scanners fitted to all for the trucks and provided for all warehouse and employees. So it means products are barcoded, whether it is finished products or raw material, barcoded or QR coded, depending upon the factory's ability to do that. And we are enabled both these into our system. And label pin printers directly linked with the ERP and sales system for direct addressing labeling. It means a product is finally produced and packed. If it is ready for dispatch, a final process is the batch number in the label, the product ID, the serial number of the product, and the job order, whatever related to that particular product. And even if you can also put salesman's ID, so that we can understand, or the store's guy can understand, this product is made for so and so customer. Either it can be a customer ID, or it can be a salesman ID, or product ID is of course definitely there. So if you implement a system in a factory, you will become competitive. That is, in simple words, we can mention. Intelligent entry and exit doors controlled by alarm triggers for security purpose. Yes, who has visited the factory, their ID is tracked, and how many minutes or hours they spent. Unwanted visitors are coming to the factory or not. This has to be controlled, because when you have BRC standards, when you have ISO 22000 standard, this visitor tracking is very much important, and we need to make sure that only approved visitors can visit with the proper hygiene standards, maintaining proper hygienic standards. Only allowed employees, approved by senior managers can enter the factory shop floor with proper PPE kits. Now you all know from the social media that the PPE kits are there, the window shield, face mask, or hand gloves, apron, shoe cover. We all are using these from years and years, just to make sure that hygienic conditions are made sure in our factories. Same thing, digital order receipt and processing. That's what we are doing by extent sales application. Like it's similar like Salesforce application. The sales guy has got a mobile application. He will enter his order, customer's requirement in his application. It will immediately transfer through data or Wi-Fi to our central system, and sales production team can plan accordingly. Today we have received so and so order. We will keep a cutoff time, okay, 4 o'clock, every 4 p.m. we will do cutoff and gather all orders, all our 200 sales representatives, executives, supervisors, managers, insert their orders, and at 4 o'clock it will close, and it will go to a system, whether we have from stock or it has to be produced. Accordingly, if it is, if we have stock, it will go to the logistics team for processing, and in between there is a credit control process, whether the customer has got a credit facility with us, whether he has a good payment history. If it is within the limit, automatically the order will go to the next level. If it is beyond the limit, if the customer is not paying in time, then it need a kind of approval, and that also we set as 2-3 level of approvals. That a junior guy cannot approve anything, a medium level employee can approve certain limit. Up to 7 days or up to 10% of the limit can be approved by a supervisor, and a manager can approve up to 15 days or up to 20% of their approved limit extra, or a senior manager can approve a little bit more. So it means there is responsibilities given, and they are accountable for such action, their actions. If they are improving, if they are increasing the credit limit for a temporary purpose for that particular order, that will be communicated. Even the sales guy will get an instant message, your order is on hold because your customer's credit limit is overdue. So such integration of systems, sales system is incorporated, production system is incorporated, integrated, WMS, warehouse management system is similarly done. And if it is delivered to a customer, the respective sales guy will get a notification that your order has been delivered on 12:05 p.m. to the customer by so-and-so driver, having so-and-so vehicle plate with this and with the contact number. And the sales guy is updated without a phone call, without anything. He has been updated that his orders are, and what are his orders are delivered to the customer, and what are the pending orders to be delivered. So aware system is WMS system. Location, bin management, location is again barcoded, products are barcoded, locations are barcoded for easy reading and error-free entry. VNA infrastructure, Worldpac is one of the first companies in GCC to utilize advanced drive-by warehouse from Crown Company US, and Auto positioning system is another advantage. I think I'll have to speed up a little bit because we have already completed 45 minutes. Paper bag process. Yes, paper bag is a hot subject in Kerala these days, actually. So I spend 2 minutes to elaborate that. There are many paper bag Kudumbashree units are producing paper bags manually. How many bags they can produce a day? A bag, if they are pasting it, the raw material, they have to cut it to the desired size. They have to apply a glue and they have to fold it properly, then fix it by manually putting a pressure on that. And in different corners, actually, one side, two side, three. They have to use 3 different areas for glue application, pressure, and then there is a handle application where total 4. Total 7 areas they have to put glue, they have to fold it, they have to paste, they have to put pressure. Then one single paper bag is being produced. Our paper bag machine from Germany produces 150 paper bags in a minute. 150 paper bags. So it means every second you have 2.5 paper bag delivered. So any bulk requirement can be met with such machineries. Yes, machine is expensive, very expensive machine, but the efficiency is more. 12 crore of investment in one single machine, of course financed by the manufacturer with the support of financials from our accounts department and insured by government. That's a different story that need another 1 hour to explain about that area of business analytics, accounts, finance, and all. An entrepreneur should be excelled in all those areas: manufacturing, finance, audit, processes. So we can make this one on another session if you like my session. And I'll tell you about the efficiency of the machine. Yes, it is much more efficient than human being. And apart from that, in our paper bag machine, there is a doctor blade system where the glue is applied in every area with evenly, very minimum quantity of glue is being used. Glue is a costly affair and many glues are not environment friendly. So a machine with a doctor blade system makes sure that very minimum glue, desired and required glue is applied on each area evenly. Whereas a manual glue applying may not be like that. It may apply more glue in certain area and it may apply lesser glue than required in another area. So totally they have used 5 gram of glue, for example, to produce a paper bag, whereas machine need 1 gram of glue, except for example. But 1 gram used paper bag, 1 gram of glue, if we prepare a bag using 1 gram of glue prepared by a machine, is much stronger than a paper bag produced manually, applied 5 gram of glue. Why? Because certain areas the glue is not even. Certain area the glue is more, which is not required. Sometimes when civil engineers will easily understand, if the cement, sand, and other ingredients are in particular ratio, the strength is more. Cement is having 500-600 rupees per bag, but if you put more cement, will it taste more? Sorry, will it have more strength? No, never. It has to be in certain ratio. So more glue applied also having lesser strength, and in certain area there is no glue or less glue, so the bag is weaker. So that's how technology is helping to reduce the cost of production, improve the efficiency, meet demand. And that's how we shipped 1 container of paper bag to India, and we started recently. Recently means 2 days before we started online marketing of paper bag. So producing in Dubai, we can supply better bag compared to any Indian supplier. We can supply it price efficient price, with competitive price. A bag produced in a German machine is much more competitive than a bag produced in a Chinese machine, which is mostly available in India. And a bag produced by a Chinese machine is much more competitive than a bag produced by a Kudumbashree unit. So technology help us, manufacturing process help us to reduce the cost of production, to improve the quality, to increase efficiency, and again, it is sustainable, as I mentioned, less wastage, less glue, more environment friendly. Digital output, fully programmable with memorized job automation. If we have a size mentioned, we just PLC, we have to update what is the article number. Automatically, it change all the settings of the machine, most of the settings of the machine. Very few adjustments we have to do manually, but most of the settings will be adjusted by the help of servo motors, and the job will be. There are 5,000 memories in one single PLC. We can record. It can be also upgraded by putting more memory, but 5,000 is much more than a required number. So we can register sizes according to the requirement and recall it without much more involvement. And next time the same job is repeating, they just need to put the article number. Digital output counters linked to ERP. Yes, what quantity of bags delivered, and we will evaluate with efficiency. What is the designed capacity? What is the delivered capacity? What is lacking? So, and what is, then we can make the troubleshooting again immediately. Flexographic printing line, that is again environment friendly printing, utilize GPS technology and digital interface for location of rollers, sleeves, mounting, and positioning accurately, which makes again, you will see the color differences. If there are 2 or 3 color printed jobs, you will see overlapping of one color to other. That is because the technology is not being used. Here we use the accurate GPS technology in the machine to position different colors, the plates of different colors, and that will be automatically very accurately adjusted with micromillimeters. It will fix, and you will get a perfect registration, and process colors required such accuracy. I'll have to hurry up a little bit. Smart packaging machine, yes, automatic packaging machine. Robots are packed, taken out, stacked in a pallet, and pallet is once required desired number of cartons are packed in pallet. It will be also, it will be better pack, but it will be doing a better packing than the manual pack, and it can go any height, 2.4 meter, 2.3 meter, as per the customer requirement. And once it is done, it will automatically touch, and then finally ready to dispatch. So no human intervention required. I was talking about 6 or 7 employees in a big factory to run one single shift. So that is, paper mills kind of thing. These integrated paper mill, paper converting, tissue converting units are fully integrated, and with very minimum people it is working. We are yet to improve to that level. Of course, we are in the right path. Fully packages internally and outer cartons, as I mentioned, load into pallet, automated packing, production packaging, pallet traceability. Yes, each pallet also, the traceability is very well. PLC controlled machines, safety sensors, indicating sensors, loss of production, downtime, and improved quality. Same thing is repeating. Digital quality control, digital sound level monitoring, smart air monitoring. Yes, compressor, air compressor is again a cost. Required pressure by using variable frequency drive air compressors. We make sure that desired level only the compressors are running. We design compressors or chillers in VFD modules, and it will run on desired pressure, desired volume, desired CFM only, so that it will not stop in between. It will not release the air in between. You know that the mechanical engineers will know how an air compressor is running or how a chiller is running. So it will work efficiently. If we go for higher technology, variable frequency kind of thing, it will save electricity. It will have better efficiency. It will have less maintenance as well. I think since we have done almost 55 minutes, I wanted to talk something about current scenario related to Corona, but I think better to hand over to our audience for their question and answers. I'll see here what are the questions they have. Okay, first question is, You are producing 1000 plus various products in your various production units. How do you ensure quality in all areas of production? I think keeping costs down is an important part of managing any kind of production. How do you cutting costs in the production you are managing? So actually, I think this was asked at 10:40. Now, within this 20 minutes of time, I have emphasized, I have explained various areas how we reduce the cost of production. It includes automation, automatic packing, required level of manpower requirement, making efficiency. All it comes, every penny, every seconds counts in production. If, for example, I have explained about paper bag production. There is no machine. There is no huge investment for machine. There is no big infrastructure for producing paper bag in a small Kudumbashree unit, or in a Chinese machine can produce 20% of the quantity compared to a German machine. And Chinese machine is available at 10% cost of the German machine. But still, German machine is much more efficient, cost effective. In financial terms, it is called cost of ownership. The machine cost of ownership for the machine is much more cheaper compared to a Chinese machine. So all this way we reduces the cost of operation, increasing efficiency. That is one point. Using right raw material, desired raw material, automation I mentioned, then reducing the wastage. Each product produced as waste and going to scrap, that is also money. If you produce 100 pieces and you throw away 10 pieces, you have 10% waste, and your cost is 10% more compared to a factory producing 100 right pieces without a single wastage. So you are using a Chinese machine, for example. You are producing 100 units, but you are selling only 90 units. You are throwing away, or you are selling to scrap, buying people these 10 units, which is involved raw material. Your machine has used, your electricity has been used, your people has worked to produce this thing. So a value added product of these 10 units, you are selling, you are throwing it away. Whereas others, they produce 100 and they sell 100. So they are 10% cheaper compared to the other one. So cost reduction itself, it's a big subject. If you have further question, you can ask specifically, then I can answer. I was working there at, okay. Any question? I think I have received only this one single question. Any other questions, please, related to manufacturing? I have many other points.
Hello, sir.
Please.
So at the bottom of this screen, there is a question and answer section.
Okay. Sorry.
From that you will get it. Okay.
Will the maintenance possible through online, especially for the non-technical person? Recently, all the advanced machines are working on programs. A person, technically advanced person, is required to evaluate that. Yes, it will give the trouble number. Okay, this is your particular part has to be verified whether it is in line with this thing. Your roller has been worn out, or your so-and-so bearing is not working. So this kind of messages, if the machine manufacturer prepared a program to analyze the faults, and then accordingly, even non-technical people can attend such scenario. Like if the PLC is giving you a message that so-and-so machine part has to be replaced. So it doesn't require a non-technical, it doesn't require a technical person. A non-technical person also, of course, an operator with some skills, if you remove it and replace with a new thing, if there are many spare parts which is frequently going out, frequently warning out, some bearings, some areas, it need regular attention. Once in a week, some particular part required to be replaced. So such messages are coming in PLCs or near the computer nearby the the machine, and that can be attended by people. How technology, artificial intelligence helped your supply chain management. I was mentioning about this thing. It was also asked at 10:45. Technology, artificial intelligence helped us in supply chain management, like maintaining required level of raw materials. Like we know by using AI that so-and-so raw material is required in so-and-so level. Our total consumption for 3 months are so-and-so value. For example, 100 ton. 100 ton of paper is required to produce so-and-so number of bags. So AI will tell that you need to procure so-and-so raw material. It will give us. There is machine learning also. Like each machine, how much it is being produced, although design capacity is X, but the produced capacity may be X minus so-and-so. So it will tell for last 6 months, you have produced average of so-and-so volume, and it will show also the exact quantity per month also. So we can evaluate, we can check conservative numbers. For example, a machine can produce 10,000 boxes of certain product, and it has produced, for example, 800 carton every month. So we will calculate what is the raw material. System will suggest, okay, this is what the raw material required for by using artificial intelligence and technology. And we don't need to interfere manually. We don't need to calculate, okay, this is what we have used during so-and-so period. System will suggest automatically what raw material required to put in. So our inventory value reduces, space requirement reduces, finance input, because to procure raw material, if we are not using this technology, we will have certain raw materials in excess, we will have certain raw material in shortage. So our money involved is more, we pay more to bank in the form of interest and all, we pay more for the storage spaces, the warehouses will be congested, but still we will be facing a lot of shortage of raw materials. So that's how technology will be helping supply chain management. And same as I mentioned, a sales guy is recording an order at his customer side, or even he is at home, he's getting a phone call and asking for a product, he's recording a product. By a pattern of orders, even seasonal orders, for example, Ramadan is a high season for packaging materials. So machine will say that your Ramadan is so-and-so period. Machine will check from the calendar automatically, because Ramadan changes every year, it advances by 10 days, 10, 11 days. So artificial intelligence is there. It will guide us. During Ramadan, your requirement for so-and-so product is 10 times. Other months, it is only 10%. But during Ramadan, you have 10% requirement, and you need to procure raw materials 3 or 4 months in advance. So this kind of involvement of technology will help us to optimize even seasonal requirements. From order is recorded, so it will learn the pattern. The machine learning, how it is doing, it will learn the pattern. During last Ramadan, what are the products we sold in which quantity, and this Ramadan, and then we can apply our human intelligence. Yeah, this Ramadan we have 2 more branches opened, and that branch will have so-and-so requirement. We can add it, because that system cannot detect, because there is no history, there is no pattern. These 2 branches are new, so these information we have to put manually. So machine learning along with the human intelligence, we have to apply into the system, then we will get the optimum results. There is a question, what is your advice to young engineers who wish to become an entrepreneur in the post-COVID situation? My advice is, you are an engineer, but the quality of engineer, it's not a blame, but it's a reality. Because I have 2 engineers in my family. My younger brother is an engineer who did who passed out in 1998 from Thrissur Government Engineering College in mechanical. So there were only 6 colleges at that point of time. In 1994, he took entry to Government Engineering College Thrissur. There were only 6 colleges, and the criteria, medical entrance and engineering entrance were considered as similar. Now, medical entrance is considered as higher value because a lot of engineering college, including Universal Engineering College, 100 plus 150 was there, and now I think it has been reduced. So number of colleges increased to 20-25 times, and the quality of pupil intake on those days were high, and the seriousness of the candidates or students were high, and the outcome, of course, the passing out students were coming out with high level of knowledge, high level of quality. Unfortunately, because of the quantity we are generating, number of engineers we are generating these days, and the lesser serious generation, unfortunately, no, I'm not saying that everyone is less serious. There are many serious students I could see. There are entrepreneurs in our college itself who are very much serious, who are in their first year studies, but looking for applications, business, and very serious in their studies. But majority is, addicted to the social media, WhatsApp, TikTok, or YouTube, whatever it is. And they are not much serious. Such distractions are much more these days compared to those days. Those days, even mobile phone were not there. The local phone were used very rarely. So the time they were using, the quality time they were using for studies and building relationship. These time, including myself or including many of you, are addicted to social media. Of course, social media is helping us in other way, but unfortunately, the bad side of social media is influenced to the young generation who are new engineers. So they have to be very serious in their studies. This is the advice to the students. They can have the social media, but only take the positive side of the social media. You can have, learn about anything. What is the advantage of social media? If you want to learn something, you just Google it. You have, entire knowledge, updated knowledge about that particular area. You can have online classes during your course itself. If you have spare time, rather than spending in to TikTok or any other this thing, you can spend your valuable time for online studies on your interested areas. Like my son, he is doing his business studies, 4th year honors, and he is parallelly doing few of online courses. So yes, he is also using on social media, WhatsApp or YouTube or whatever it is. But you have to use the advantage. You have to use the positive side of this thing. So they have to be serious in their studies, and they have to take any jobs whatever related to their segment. Not need to wait for an engineer job. They can enter as a helper. They can enter as a machine operator and try to learn more things. An electrical engineer can be an electrician first. There are many engineers coming out. They don't know what is the basics of practical electrical things. They don't know what is ampere, or they don't know what is hertz. So many things. A civil engineer, after completing his 4th year and having first class in his studies, I was interviewing him for our project. So I was asking about CBM, what CBM of concrete required for so-and-so project. I've given him so-and-so length, depth, and design, simple design, where quantity survey is involved, little bit small quantity survey is involved. I'm not a civil engineer, but myself, I can calculate that very easily. I'm doing this in my practical life. But after completing his engineering, he could not do that. So you have to do, civil engineers do some part-time jobs with locally available contractors or wherever it is, and empower themselves, utilize such opportunities. Electrical engineers try to go with the electricians locally, or small manufacturing, or whatever entity is there, to learn about this thing. This is what European countries or wherever developed countries are doing. Along with their studies, they do some part-time related to their job. So they apply what they learn. Today, what I'm learning, I will apply tomorrow in my work life. Then they will correlate. So when professor is describing about certain things, he will suddenly it will come to his mind. Yes, I've done this, and this was the result. I went to the site, and civil engineer will understand easily about what is happening at site, what is taught at colleges. So again, that is a big subject. What is the scope of manufacturing packaging industry in Kerala? Do you have any plan to start manufacturing unit in Kerala? Yes, we have plans, not only in Kerala, India being 1.3 billion population, the second largest populated country in the world, have a good requirement of sustainable packaging. Recently, plastic has been banned. We are also producing plastics, but we produce responsible, recyclable packaging materials. Whatever we produce, it can be recycled, and we use a lot of recycled materials also, with maintaining higher standard of hygiene. So we have plans to start manufacturing a packaging industry in Kerala. We will start with distribution initially, which I mentioned. Paper bag is available in India on our website hotpackglobal.in, and we will add one by one, and all the product will be sustainable products, environment friendly products. The next question is, Japan is famous for their technology, so how much would be the potential between a German machine and a machine from Japan? Actually, it depends. We have German machines when we compare with certain technology. Injection molding technology, we can say Japanese electrical machines are much more efficient than German hydraulic machines, because electrical machine consume lesser electricity, and it is much more cleaner. Like for clean room applications, for medical applications, or food packaging applications, an electrical injection molding machine is suggested. There will be no oil, no grease on part forming areas, and it will consume lesser electricity. And apart from that, a hydraulic injection machine required two different cooling. One is mold cooling, the other is machine cooling. In electrical machine, only one cooling is required. So one chiller is only working, and with 8 degree or 9 degree or 10 degree of temperature, and the other machine cooling is not required in electrical machine. That is again another cost saving, and it is cleaner. So Japan is advanced. Like you will see, Toyota cars are having lesser maintenance cost compared to German Mercedes or any other cars. But there are certain technology which Germans are excelling, like what I mentioned, paper bag. Japanese machines are also there in paper bag. German machines are also there. German machines are made for next generation. Like I'm buying a machine, it can be used by my son and my grandson. You know, that is how they build the machine. It is always very robust machine. In German and American and Canadian machines are also, they always make very robust. It will be heavy. A German machine will be, or American machine will be weighing, for example, 20 tons. The similar Japanese machine may be 15 tons, and Taiwanese machine may be 10 tons, and Chinese machine will be 2 tons. So that is the difference between Japanese technology. In certain technologies, Japan is better. In certain, so different machine. In our own experience itself, there are certain technology where Italy is excelling. Italian machines are good in certain technologies. So technology to technology, machine to machine, it varies. Due to the impact of COVID, work from home was suggested, but it is not possible for a production-based industry. It is not fully automated. What all are the technological transformations that we may see in near future due to the impact of COVID? I'm sorry, it is 1 hour, 15 minutes. I will try to answer the remaining questions in to be present in the production areas, but rest were managing things from home or from different offices, because business continuity is also very important. Business continuity in the sense, if for example, we learned it from multinational organizations, banks. If the head office is having 500 employees, if there is a problem, that 500 employees cannot come to the job and they have no alternative system to work. So during the beginning of COVID itself, many multinational companies, banks, sanitization booth, uh, temperature detecting is everywhere it is happening. Shoe cleaning, shoe cover, and all from the beginning itself. Isolation of the production people. They are not contacting any other people. They are in a separate area where all their facilities were given, including homeopathic uh, medicines, which will increase the immunity and will prevent the coronavirus to attack. There are homeo medicines which successfully used in Gujarat, which successfully used in Germany. I've been told my homeopathic doctor friend that Germany, it was in the first 3 or 4 countries in the beginning, but they contained corona with this. Homeopathic is very famous in Germany. Cuba is very famous for homeopathic medicines, and they all are using homeopathic medicine. So we have given the entire employees homeopathic course, 2 courses of homeopathic medicine to improve their immunity, to increase their confidence. That is again another this thing. So we separated them. We have provided them entire thing, including leisure facilities within the facility itself. So those were not going out. Those were not having any physical contact with outsiders. So factory to the accommodation, and they were luckily we did not get affected due to this, and we were working all the days of corona, thank god. What kind of plastic used for hot pack products for various hot packs? Are they recyclable in quick time? Just yes, we use PET products, which can be recycled hundreds or thousands of times. And in Europe, mostly these days, 100% recycled materials are used for food package. It is going through a process which is FDA approved. Although it is recycled, it is allowed to have food contact. It is very safe to have food contact. But in UAE, it is not mandatory to use 100% recycled material. So we use 50% recycled material for the inner layer, and the outer layer is virgin material, and that is PET. And we use polypropylene for hot food application, because PET is not suitable for hot application. It is suggested for cold applications. Hot applications, we use polypropylene material, which can be also microwaved. The other question, what creative strategy did you see to execute on minimal cash flow? Good question. We focused during this period on healthcare sector as well, because we were selling gloves, we were selling face masks for industries, for factories, for food factories. They wear face masks, from long ago. We used to sell a lot of quantity of face masks, gloves, aprons, shoe covers from the beginning, and we always maintain 3 to 4 months of stock level. So this products, 3 months, 4 months stock level helped us. We sold it in 1 month itself, and we also made sure the supply chain from our existing suppliers to have much more volume in coming months by paying them advance money and selling these products, these 3 months, 4 months stock to the customer on cash basis. We manage the cash flow. So we generated a profit. These were the stocks we were maintaining in our warehouse, but it converted into cash. The same cash used to pay advance payment to our suppliers. We got more volume because they are our regular suppliers, and they got cash in advance. And that again helped us in the second month to sell with profit. And that profit, along with the cash again back to the system, helped us to pay back again to the suppliers. So that the cycle was continuing. And that's how, and there were a few products which were selling, but due to COVID situation, it was not selling. For example, fashion brands where malls were not working. So paper bag with brands advertisement, IKEA or any other fashion brands we are not buying, and we were not getting enough cash flow from there. So the deficit from here compensated by the cash sales on hygienic products and other hot products in packaging material. How did you shift from plastic to paper? Actually, complete shift is not possible. Plastic is mandatory. Like our car manufacturers globally, they were using metals, but now to have it more fuel efficient, to have more longer life, to have recycled material again and again, and to avoid throwing metal to the landfill. Many automobile manufacturers converted many products from metal to plastic. So you could see earlier bumpers were metal, now it is plastic. Many spare parts are highly durable, less, there is no corrosion in plastic, less maintenance required in plastic, various type of plastic. Plastics are, there are 100 types of plastics. In airline industry, lightweight plastic, but highly durable. For example, the luggage area, that is very lightweight because each and every kilogram is costing fuel for every aircraft. That is why you will see the magazine used in aircraft, it is with very lightweight paper, printed with lightweight paper to reduce the cost of the weight of the total aircraft. If there are 320 seats in an aircraft, in a big aircraft, literatures of 320 into 2 or 3 will be there. Each and everything is weighing 1 kilogram. That will weigh tons of paper in an aircraft. So similarly, they cannot reduce the weight of the people. The 320 people will be there with an average weight of 80 kilogram or 75 kilogram, whatever it is. But they can reduce the spare parts or the luggage storage area material to produce these kind of stuffs can be lightweight plastic. So plastic cannot be replaced 100% by paper, including in packaging materials. Like a curry, it is very difficult to pack with a spill-proof property or leak-proof property in a paper. So wherever it is possible to replace with paper, and again, environment-friendly paper, that is very important. Paper should be, we are buying paper from FSC certified companies, FSC certified mills. What is FSC? FSC is an NGO, Forest Stewardship Council. You can Google it, fsc.org, I think. So that makes sure that a paper mill is procuring pulp from a source where it is, generating. I mean, if they are cutting a tree, they are planting another 3 to 5 trees in a different area to make sure that trees are destroyed. So it's all the chain of custody. Chain of custody is made sure by a FSC certified body. So we are also part of that chain of custody. So every paper mill is not environment friendly. They are destroying, they are cutting a lot of trees, but they are not replacing with new, and they are harming much more than plastic producer or plastics. So FSC certified paper or PEFC, there is another organization called PEFC, that is again a chain of custody, making sure chain of custody. So these two organizations make sure the paper is sustainable, resources are sustainable or continuously planted. And as I mentioned, few plastics cannot be replaced by paper. Wherever it is possible, with sustainable paper products, we are doing it. For an individual planning on entering in the packaging field, what product will you advise to start with? Or should one start with sales and then through vertical integration, move into manufacturing? Yes, your question has an answer. Don't jump into manufacturing directly, because you need to learn about the segment what you are entering. What is the market keep changing? Market requirement, it is not same like before 2 years. The current market scenario is different. So when you interact with your customers, you will understand what is the requirement and what is the real volume of the requirement. If you bring a machine and it is producing millions of pieces and market is requiring only 100,000 pieces, you are wasting the capacity. So it means your product will be much more costlier than your competitor. So one need to understand study properly, have a real, not by surveying people, calling a few customers and asking their pattern and then giving you a report. No, really by yourself, do a survey, practical survey, months, which may take months or years to understand and finalize into a product. There are a lot of requirements for sustainable packaging in Kerala, which you may focus into. Again, backward integration is a good idea to start with trading, and which we did successfully, and which we keep continuously doing it. Some of the public sector manufacturing companies in Kerala are in the phase of shutting down. What do you think might be the reason for this? I think efficiency is the one of the major reasons. These machines are decades old. The technologies are not involved. This has to be replaced with the latest technology, latest machine with higher output, with much more better quality, much more better standards. So then the efficiency increase. Those yes, like my friend who was mentioning, converting restaurant waiters to technological marketing people, the same employees can be utilized for different areas of business. The management can empower those employees in different areas. It is not required that, okay, these people are started 20 years before, 30 years before as a helper or as a loading and unloading worker, and they retire as a loading and unloading worker. Education is, yes, helping somebody to grow, but I suggest only 5% of a person's growth is based on education. The remaining 95% is based on the opportunities he is getting in his future. He is getting in his real work life, where he is getting his superiors, his intention to learn, his surroundings, his friends. All these matters. So myself, I got graduated later. It was I learned about technology. I learned about mechanical engineering. I learned about civil engineering, not entire area, but what is required for our business. I learned all of these things during my business. So as a requirement of my business, I tried to learn. I used, of course, internet is helping everyone these days. So you need to understand what is the real problem, analyze the problem properly, and replace with new machine technologies and technologically advanced people. Then only such dying companies can be rebuilt and recover. Is there any possibility for recycling the disposable containers of aluminum foil? Actually, any recycling, whether it is paper, plastic, or aluminum, a proper collection system is very much required. If you have a collection system from the origin, if you have in Italy, there are 11 bins for aluminum wastage. There is a bin for tin metal cans. There is another one for plastic itself. You will see this is a product. It has got a recycle number behind it. It is PET, and there is a number 1 mentioned. So, and even an uneducated worker can understand this is PET, and it has to be kept separately. PP has to be kept separately. If this is a PP, polypropylene material, I'm in an office, so I have samples around me. So PP has to be kept separately, because if we put together, these two are plastic, but if you are putting it together, then melting temperature for PP, melting temperature for PET is different. And then, it is a wastage. This will destroy the machine actually. If a combination of polypropylene and poly PET will destroy the extrusion machine. So one has to collect it properly. Metal has to be kept separately. Paper, recyclable paper has to be kept separately. Trash, perishable things, waste has to be kept separately. So many things are there to be taken care during this collection process itself. And the guys who are coming for the collection, I mentioned Italy, there are 11 bins, and each day there will be collection. And when they are collecting it from home or from communities, they will be collecting it in different areas, which will be going to which is not contaminated. Contamination is very much important. If you are collecting an aluminum container foil separately, then it can be recycled. Same like plastic, same like paper. It has to be. Now what is happening, every trash including food waste with fungus or bacteria are going to the waste yard, and it is separated. Not all wastages are separated, few of them are separated, and it is taken to the recycling. Then we are contaminating it, and then we are trying to decontaminate it by washing it, so wastage of water, by using electricity, by using manpower, which all are costing more money. So it's a culture actually. The recycling is a culture which has to develop from the childhood itself. A lot of then every individual, every citizen is responsible. Collective effort should be having to have such a recycling system. 11:37. Should I answer remaining or? Okay, I'll quickly go. Can you give advice to young regarding the role of hardworking in business? Very important. I used to work 18 hours, 19 hours a day during my initial days, and now it is my 30th year. I'm working in this segment. While I was studying in India, also when I was in Asmapi College, I was doing few trading activities. So hard work is very much important. People will say that smart work is important. Hard work is not required, only smart work. No, hard work in a smart way, that will make you excel, that will make you successful. So hardworking, yes. Still at this point, having 2,000 colleagues with me, having facilities across the globe, still I'm working for 14 to 15 hours a day, whether I'm at office or at home. We need to be active, then only you can be successful. If you work for few hours, if you look at clock, you will not be successful. Some of the public sector manufacturing companies in Kerala are in the phase of shutting down. What do you think might be the reason for this? Actually, I explained it actually. They have to be much more efficient, replacing with better technology, better machines, technologically advanced people to run that show, and responsible employees. These are all the ingredients for a successful business or successful manufacturing. Is there any possibility for recycling? Okay, that we discussed already. Could you explain the barriers to the development of an entrepreneur? I think yesterday, Professor Suhas, he was explaining about those. One should have passion. An entrepreneur should have passion in their respective areas, whether it is a electrical engineer or it is a civil engineer. A civil engineer, if he is afraid about fading his colors, he cannot go to the site and monitor what is happening. He has to go to the work site. There will be nails, there will be difficulties when he is going to the site. I myself, when the factories are under construction, used to visit the factory site every day and do the suggestions. So there should not be any kind of such barrier. I will only work with AC. I will not go out. I will only do white collar jobs. My brother, when I was mentioning about my brother, after his engineering passed out with first class from Thrissur Engineering College, he came here. He won a coverall which is used by factory worker, and he started as an operator or assistant operator. So maybe he was. These days, our engineers, new engineers, are not willing to do such jobs. One has to grow from basic level to learn, understand the production process, whether it is a production or technology, whatever it is. So these kind of things are the barriers, the mentality, to work everywhere. That should be there. How Universal Engineering College contribute to the molding good professionals? What's your advice? Continuous learning is an option. Updating the current syllabus to be explored with KTU. Yes, now the series of seminars what we are conducting, webinars we are conducting, this is one of the action we are contributing, because the time is valuable. Whoever spoke yesterday, day before yesterday, Dr. Mike, they all are very busy people, and during coming days also we'll have eminent personalities, professionals from different field of the business, like Mr. Suwaidi. He's a well-known person here. He is a CEO of Global Village, friend of mine. He visited once our college. You know, he's of course actually he's in front of the students. He will be much more active because uh, his classes are very much enjoyable, and there are many other professionals are continuing with these sessions, and UEC will continue the same thing, and continuous training is an option. Yes, for sure, continuous training, and on top of that, training not only in online, rather at site. A student can go to a uh, engineering workshop to learn things. A mechanical engineer can go to a workshop, lathe workshop. It's a basic job of an ITI guy or a diploma holder. But engineer has to understand hands-on experience is something different. I've seen in Germany, you know, engineers with master qualification in mechanical engineering, they are wearing a coverall and they are going below the machine. That is what their hands-on experience, and that is what the passion I have seen, and which we could only see very rarely among our own students. Unfortunately, that culture has to be changed. Updating the current syllabus to explode with KTU, yes, with the latest technology, because technology is advancing very fastly. Every month we can see something new. At least yearly there are some updates that is very much required with the help of expertise, not only with the professors, because മലയാളത്തിൽ ഒരു ചൊല്ലുണ്ടല്ലോ എട്ടിലെ പശു പുല്ല് തിന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ similarly the theory is not 100% workable. Sometimes practical knowledge is much more than the theory. Theory with the practical knowledge will help our educational system to excel. What differentiates Hotpack from other companies in the same industry? What is the USP? You know, we always bring something new to the market. The latest addition is, see, this is a paper cup in front of me. Paper has no barrier. So what is being used? Paper has got a PE liner inside. PE, what is PE? Polyethylene. Polyethylene is a plastic. So this cup is not recyclable in normal case. What Hotpack is going to introduce in the market, a water-based coating with a barrier coating. Barrier in the sense waterproof and heat sealable. Why PE is being used? One is to have a barrier. The second is to have a sealing between paper to paper, because paper to paper, it cannot have a leak-proof sealing. So here what we are using a water-based technology from Germany. We are coating it on the paper, and the heat sealability is there, water resistance is there, and that is going to be introduced in the market very soon. So the paper cup will be recyclable. I think in Kerala market also few steps are being taken, but it is not 100% successful, because heat sealability is very much important. If you are pouring 100-degree or 95-degree, 90-degree tea or coffee into a cup, it should not leak even in small drops, because it will spill into the clothes or wherever it is. So our USP is to have unique products itself. Unique selling point is unique products. This is one of the unique products. We have digital printing. That is a new thing which we incorporated. A customer can print as low as 1,000 pieces, or a family can print 100 pieces for their birthday. But of course, it will cost more money because more time is involved. More than the printing cost, the time for the graphic designer, time for setting up the machine, time to take out that. So this is what costing. So we are always doing something different. And with regards to hygiene standards, Hotpack is following. As food packaging company, utmost care need to be given at the time of manufacturing. Yes, as I mentioned, we are a BRC certified, BRC packaging certified company. So there are certain norms. We have a quality manager. Under him, there are many employees who make sure every BRC standard is maintained in our factories, and they do inspections every now and then. And you know, then the certificate is being renewed. Another certificate is ISO 22000, which we are maintaining from long years. So that's how Hotpack is maintaining hygiene standards in our manufacturing plants. I think this was the longest session within these 4 days of 1 hour 40 minutes. I'm sorry to take this much long, but question and answer session took more time, and my 45 minutes of speech, I did not expect. Of course, it's my pleasure. If there is another opportunity, it will be my pleasure to answer all the questions. And there are a lot to say, because manufacturing itself, each and every technology itself, required to explain hours or days or months. So hope there will be another opportunity for this.
Thank you, sir.
Can I conclude?
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So,
thank you for your
thank you
valuable
for-
information.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope I used your 1 hour 40 minutes, valuable 1 hour 40 minutes. I could satisfy you in up to some certain extent.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Thank you very much.
On the behalf of Universal Engineering College, I would like to express our profound gratitude to the presenter of our 4th day webinar series, Abdul Jabbar sir, for the great, inspiring, and a valuable and fruitful session. And also I express our sincere thanks to our principal, Dr. Jose K. Jacob. And also I express vote of thanks to our all staff members who have made this seminar a grand success. Once again, thank you everyone. We appreciate your effort for being here. I would like to request you all to fill the feedback form that we have sent in your mail. And I would like to remind that it will be considered as your attendance sheet. Now, I would like to remind about tomorrow's webinar by Mr. MP Ahmed Sir, Chairman of Malabar Group, on the topic Business Prospects Post-COVID Pandemic. Thanks again for joining us today. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.